Hi there and welcome to Techopia Live. We are very excited because if you don't know this already, that each and every single Monday at around 12:15, we interview phenomenal entrepreneurs from across Ottawa and also across the country to talk a little bit about the tech community and hopefully help and grow this ecosystem. Today, we are showcasing two great entrepreneurs, CEOs and co-founders. With me, we have Stephen Foley from Member365 and also Jared Floyd from Quickily. Thank you so much for making some time for us today. And we're going to get right into it, into the nitty-gritty. So first things first, for people that do not know these great companies just yet, I know it's going to be on the tip of the tongue of each and every single person across the tech community in just a matter of time. But let's explain to them a little bit more about who you guys are and what you do. So Stephen, if you can take a little bit of time and share with us a little bit more, what is Member365 and why this? Why did you decide that there was a need for this specific company, and how did this all come to fruition?
Thanks, Carlos. Great to be here. So, Member365 is an all-in-one membership management program that allows our customers to properly manage, engage, and grow their organization. The whole idea or premise behind Member365 was born out of my company beforehand, which was a professional services company. And one of our major customer profiles were organizations in the membership space. And back in 2013, in fact, we had one of these customers come to us and they had a need to build something. And through that, we decided that we would take an approach where what we built, we would reuse, recycle, and repurpose for other customers. And out of that first project, Member365 was born. And we spent the last 4 years building up the product, adding to its capabilities, and really just figuring everything out. And that really brings us here today. So happy to be here and looking forward to your next question.
Awesome. Well, no, and congratulations to all the growth that you've done and have made up to this specific point. We'll go into a little bit further where you are now and how things are looking for the future. Jared, maybe you can share with us a little bit about the company. I know it's a fresh and exciting company for you as well. You know, Stephen this is another company for him, so he's been down that route. This is your first new company, or first company. So share with us a little bit, firstly, your concept, your idea, and why did you feel there was a need, and maybe a little bit how this process has been up so far for you.
So I started Quickly. I was working at my father's restaurant, and I was doing hiring for him when I was 18, and I started realizing the inefficiencies of the way in which hiring was being done. And being a student at Algonquin College, I was starting to look for another job closer to home. And I was applying to jobs, same way a normal student would, handing out resumes door to door. And I was thinking to myself, how are we still doing things the same way in which we did, 5-10 years ago? And so that's where I came up with Quickly. So Quickly, we use a Tinder-like format to allow people to apply to jobs, and then they can instantly chat with employers, and soon they will be able to instantly interview right on the mobile application with employers, allowing the process to be very streamlined.
Now I know you say, there's a couple of questions I've had both of you, so I'll come back to Stephen first. Stephen, you said this is a second company for you, is that correct? That process of having a company and then starting another company, especially within the software realm, and then saying, okay, you know what, it's time for us to not just, when you're on software, when you're SaaS related, you have the ability to grow on a global perspective as well, which opens up so many doors for you. So maybe what made this opportunity for you stand out to the fact that it can just grow on a global perspective, and maybe you can tie that in a little bit to why it was important for you to be a part of an organization or a platform like Allspark to grow your company, and how did you get involved in that?
Well, you're absolutely right, and what we're creating very much has a global vision, and I'm really proud to say that we're in 7 countries already today. Why this business, what really captivated me about this business was the fact that this is a business that I can scale, that I can grow. So my prior business was all about a professional service, was about customizing, and that business is really hard to scale because it comes down to needing to staff more bodies for every incremental project you bring in. What really interested me about the software business and the SaaS business in particular is the ability for us to grow exponentially, but not have to grow the headcount to match that exponential growth. And that gets us really excited because, of course, the more people that come on to the platform, the higher our margins get. So each customer allows us to be that much more, get that much closer to profitability. In terms of LSpark, so we have been in LSpark since February of 2016. We came through as what they were calling an incubator at the time. I know they've changed that to a new name, but we went through as an incubating company, and we didn't move out. We stayed there after we were accepted into the current accelerator program that we're about to graduate from next week. Now, we've taken so much away from LSpark, but the two biggest things that we're taking away first would be the relationships. We were very much working in a vacuum with the old company, very in tune with ourselves, but not so much the outside world. So having moved our entire company out to the LSpark office, it's allowed us to engage and build a lot of great relationships that have really helped our companies in many different ways. The second big thing we've taken away from LSpark, of course, is our recent fundraising round, where we've closed $1.3 million in seed funding through the help of, once again, those relationships that we were able to form at LSpark. So two big ingredients to the success that we're achieving right now, and looking forward to continuing the relationship with everybody at LSpark after we leave. Just because we're graduating next week doesn't mean it's all over. So as an alumni, I'm looking forward to furthering the relationships and seeing what's around the corner.
Now, Jared, for yourself, what's interesting, you said it's a Tinder-like app or experience, so to speak. Not everybody. A lot of people know what Tinder is. Not a lot of people know what Tinder is, or if I should be using Tinder. But maybe you can explain to me why you felt it was important to have that kind of look and feel to the experience for someone that's in the job searching realm, and why was it so important to make it as user-friendly and as intuitive as possible to kind of make that process effective?
Yeah, great question. So the reason why we chose, to further explain the Tinder format, Tinder is a popular dating app on the market, and the reason why we chose the format is you just swipe left if you're not interested, and you swipe right if you are. Now, it's a very, kind of gamified approach on something that really hasn't been gamified in a while, and I find the dating industry can be quite very similar in a sense that two parties are trying to connect, and they're making it very fun to do so. And the Tinder approach, has gone in 66% of all millennials North America wide. So it's a very popular format to use.
Now, for yourself, you're new, so to speak, in the LSpark realm. But just like Stephen, I'm sure there's a lot that you've taken away from being surrounded by that group of individuals, not just the other companies that are there, but also, of course, the mentors that's there and the guidance that you've gotten through that. So maybe how's your experience been there, and what have you enjoyed in being just in that environment?
Yeah, it's a great environment. What I love about being at LSpark is we get a chance to learn from individuals that have already gone down this path before many times, and they can share advice that it really takes those experiences to know them, and I think besides that, there's a lot of great contacts. I think business is all about who you know, so having an organization that is very well established in the community and can put us in touch with the right people has been really helpful.
Now, interesting enough, although, Stephen, you might be on your way out, and you're really into the thick of things. I know Allspark has just recently announced their applications for the new cohort going out in the fall. So that's very exciting stuff. Maybe you can explain to us a little bit for yourself, Stephen, how would you guide, or maybe what suggestions you might have for companies that would be interested in, utilizing a phenomenal platform like Allspark, that is just one, once again, of many other platforms we have here in the city to help grow companies. Why do you feel it's so important for companies to try and utilize this opportunity to be a part of that, and maybe what you've learned in that process when you first applied or wanted to participate?
So to echo Jared's comment about, the folks, the mentors, the individuals that you're striking relationships with have been there. They've done it, they've seen it, and as entrepreneurs, we often don't know what we don't know. So by having access to a group like this, it really can be quite eye-opening. So in terms of why a company would like to take advantage of a program like Allspark, if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to grow beyond, in my case, my brother's my co-founder, so brother entrepreneurs who are bootstrapping it and doing it themselves, and are cognizant that in order to really become a leading global provider of software, you can't do it on your own. There's lots of success stories of companies that have, and it takes years to get there. So a program like this can help you get up and running a lot quicker than if you stay the course on your own.
Wonderful. Now, interesting, talking towards that, coming up next week, they are going to have the Best in SaaS showcase, which is an opportunity to showcase some of the companies that's at Allspark talking about their companies. I know it's very well attended. It's happening on June 13th, and it's an opportunity for you to come and see companies in that specific cohort or in that group of individuals that's all coming together talking about their companies. Now, I know a big part of this has been focusing on how to pitch your company. So maybe I'll start with you, Jared, and I'll go over to you as well, Stephen. As time has progressed, the key thing about it is being sure about what your message is, being able to articulate what your company is all about in a short space of time, but also keeping in mind who your audience is, who's the people that you're trying to give that information to, and give them enough information so that they can either make a decision or move forward or find, hey, you know what, I want to have another conversation with that company. So maybe you can share with me a little bit, what have you learned so far about how to pitch your company, and maybe how have you had to adjust as you have now tried to get funding or even just be a part of a specific cohort? How has that changed for you?
I learned a lot, just from, people specializing in doing presentations every day at Allspark. And some of the things I learned was just the process in which to make a presentation. And I think more so, making it so that people can have or want to spend a lot of attention on your presentation. I think, presentations are very important in the sense that you don't want to lose that attention, and being able to capture that right away, I think, is very, very important. And so that's one of the big things that I've learned.
So one thing I found is the investors that we've taken on aren't so much investing in our product, they're investing in us, the people behind the product. So I think you need to be prepared to really show your passion and energy and your investment into the product. That will go a long way with the investors, because that's essentially who they're investing in, is the people behind. Other than that, the other thing that I've really come to understand is be ready to describe who you're selling to, who your customers are, how big is that market, how big is that opportunity, because the investors do want to invest in ideas that have a massive opportunity for scale. They're not looking to invest something that's going to be homegrown. So be able to defend how big that total addressable market is, and be ready to prove that your product will be used by those potential customers.
To go off that too, I think a big thing is telling your story. I think being able to show somebody the vision of why in which you started something, is so very important in different degrees, and being able to shape that picture really makes a difference.
No, I think both of you clearly, it's interesting how you evolve as a company and how you have started. How long have you been with Allspark now?
4 months.
4 months, okay. And started 2016, yes?
15 months.
Okay. So maybe let's go through that a little bit. How maybe you've evolved from since you've been with Allspark to where you are now, and maybe how your perception have changed about your company, how your perception have maybe changed about your audience, your target audience, so to speak, or maybe your messaging in general. So encompassing a little bit what has changed from the moment you walked through those doors to where you are now. So I'll go with Jared first.
Yeah, I think our messaging switched a lot from the way in which when we started. And I think it just went back to, telling our story of why in which we started, and, showing the value props that we're providing very well. And I think the other thing too is knowing how to scale very well. That was a big thing for us.
Yeah, so much has changed since we've come through the program. We've grown our customer base by 1,500%, in fact, since we first came in. To us, probably one of the bigger takeaways from Allspark is the investment into customer success. Because with a SaaS product, you can spend a lot of time, resources, and money on acquiring a customer. But if you're not set up after you've acquired a customer for them to be successful, there is a high risk of them churning and moving off your platform. So it's one thing to be focused on product, and it's another thing to be focused on sales and marketing. But what really rang true for us was the need to invest in the success of our customers, because that's what's going to make sure that they stick around for a very long time. And that allows us to recoup our investment and then eventually make money from these customers, which is what we all want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, and I appreciate that, because I think that is maybe one of the key messages that we want to try and get out there as well. So many times we're fortunate. We have some phenomenal companies in our city. We have a growing ecosystem here. The Innovation Center is one aspect of it. Allspark is one of that. There's Hub Ottawa. There is Startup Garage. There's so many of these wonderful platforms to help support growing companies and companies that have an idea that want to go to the next step. But it's so true. It's a simple aspect of saying, does your platform have the ability to generate revenue? Does your platform have the ability to take care of the client beyond the first initial engagement with them? And those basics is wonderful. And your messaging, defining those messaging. And I think that's sometimes, as you say, we don't know what we don't know. As an entrepreneur, you think I have all the answers because I'm the accountant, I'm the marketing specialist, I'm the product specialist, I'm the spokesperson, so I must know everything. And then you step into, an environment like Allspark, and you have those conversations, and you realize, you know what? I don't know all those answers. I didn't think of it that way, and it can completely reshuffle your company, but in the right direction. Yes. So maybe one thing we'll kind of conclude, but maybe you can give me an idea. This is early for you, Jared. But I know that you've been working on this concept for quite some time, and it's wonderful to see that you're with Allspark and going in awesome directions. And yourself, Stephen, maybe you can share with us, what does the next, I'm not going to say 5 years look like, but maybe with 3 to 5 years look like for your company? What would you like to do? Where do you see your company going?
Yeah, so absolutely. So our vision is to be the leader in membership management software globally. I mentioned earlier we're already moving in that direction, having penetrated 7 countries, but we want to be loved and trusted by our customers first and foremost. And then, of course, we want to build a company here in Ottawa that employs hundreds of people. That's the idea behind this, is to generate employment and to be able to give back to the community as we continue to grow and scale.
Yeah, to go off that point, I mean, for Quickly, our goal in 3 years is to go on a Canada-wide level. We really want to, target that student market particularly. It has one of the highest youth unemployment rates, and on a scale of scaling that up to 5 years, we really would like to go on a global scale and allow a student that if you want to go travel for the summer in Europe, that you can actually get a job for 3 months while traveling at the same time. And I think in the meantime of doing so, we can create a lot of jobs and, give back to the community. And as being a student or a student that recently graduated, certainly give back to the schools and, what we've learned and teaching that to the next generation.
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking the time today to share a little bit about your companies, and congratulations on all the hard work you've done up to this point. For yourself as well, congratulations. Lots more to come. World domination, next step, I know. That's kind of like part of the business plan at the bottom. For those of you that's watching this, thank you so much for participating yet again, and make sure you join us each and every Monday to get some more interesting insight on phenomenal companies that is right here within Ottawa and taking over on a global scale. Go check out techopia.ca. We also have a weekly newsletter that goes out, so if you want to stay abreast of technology information, period, make sure that you be a part of our newsletter. Join us here on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.